Thank you so very much for choosing to stay with us. And in case you're just joining us, welcome to Kenya's Gold, where the focus of the day is on learning a lot more when it comes to the effects of climate change and what we can all collectively do now for a better tomorrow. Now, speaking of the effect of climate change, let us have a look at what is happening in different parts of the continent. Let us look at Mauritania, for example. Over the last year, it has been affected by extreme weather condition, and agriculture is one of the sectors that has been hit the hardest. As of now, we've had droughts and floods, which has contributed to over 1.1 million people in this country relying on humanitarian food aid. Now, if we move to another country like Zambia, this year Zambia did declare a state of emergency following the severe drought that has been experienced in this southern African country. Now, rising levels of food insecurity has been one of the effects from this drought, and as of now, we have about 1.35 people experiencing acute hunger and malnutrition as well. Let's take a flight and go all the way to Zimbabwe. Now, in Zimbabwe, agriculture is one of the main economic activities in the country, and also this country has been affected by extreme weather conditions. Here we are talking about drought and floods as well. Now, the climate crisis in the recent years has led to a rise in waterborne diseases. Here we are talking about diseases like typhoid and cholera as well. And finally, if we move to Senegal, what is happening there thanks to matters climate change? This country has witnessed a shocking 60% increase in food insecurity in the last year. Now, global inflation and climate change has also significantly impacted food prices. Now, those are just some of the African countries that as of now are feeling the hit of climate change, and that's why every single day right here at Kenya's Gold, we're pushing for our farmers to practice sustainable agriculture, and every other person who's not a farmer to make sure that they are in the business of environment conservation. And speaking of environment conservation and people who are actively participating in making sure that we're living in a good environment, and they're also saving Mother Earth from the devastating effect of climate change, I am joined by young people who are doing an absolutely good job, and they look so good while at it. We do have Collins Onyango. Thank you so very much for making time to be with us today. We also have Nisera Wanjiru. Karibu sana. I can see your t-shirt is written, "Information is power." We'll want to get into more details on that. And finally, on my extreme right, we are joined by Samuel Ogonga. Thank you so very much for making time to be with us today. Now,
thank you for inviting us.
Of course, anytime. Now, jumping straight into the conversation, there is a very powerful initiative you're pushing right now that is titled Tujihusishe kwa mto wetu. Please talk to me about that project and why it's very close to your heart. And I'll start with you, Nisera.
Thank you. Looking at the past, what has happened in Nairobi, and remember, we are talking about the climate change. What happened in Mathare, the flooding, the peoples who lost their lives, and the peoples who are affected. And then we went into the eviction. Remember, we were at a time whereby it was raining, and then the government came and said, okay, we are giving you 48 hours at Metam to leave these areas. And then we saw that bulldozers. And remember, we are in the informal settlement, whereby an area, we are in a 10 by 10 house, a self-contained, whereby if you stretch your hand, is there. You open the door, you can touch your bed, you can touch your sufuria, and a lot of people lost their livelihoods. Lots of people were evicted, and in Kibra, they have not yet come there. No bulldozers yet. And that is why we are saying Tujihusishe.
Right.
Before they come, what can we do?
Right.
How do we engage the community, the young people, the women?
Tusikae tu chini tukingoja usaidizi. Let us all get all hands on deck. Such a powerful message right here. And I want to move to you, Collins. One of the goals that you have in this mission states community engagement, where everyone is included in the Ngong River regeneration. That is one of the things that you're pushing for. And I'm very keen on the fact that you said where everyone is included. Please help me understand why that is very important, and have we been in a situation where just a select few have been included in these initiatives? Kindly expound on that.
Yeah, I think this approach where we need a process where the community members are included, it's because we had an the presidential order the other time that an eviction should happen almost immediately. That one was understandable because it was during the El Nino period. But right now, we don't experience any heavy rains, and the community needs to understand the right process, and maybe a proper channel of eviction should happen. And a lot of these community members never get the right information, and they don't get whatever he said. Like, remember the president was saying people are given 10,000 shillings. I would tell you for a fact that a lot of people who are evicted from that space have not even gotten that. They even wonder how some of them are still stranded up to now. We serve the community, we serve them down there, and we know exactly how much they get hurt when such forceful evictions happen.
Right. So
as we are going into tomorrow's event, like, we need to sensitize the community, tell them that, well, fine, this project, or the riparian eviction, is not to hurt you, but kind of to increase more of social amenities and other opportunities that come along with that. Right. It is also to prevent losses of lives and other properties, of course.
Right. Now, those are some of the effects, of course, that happened with the floods that we recently experienced. And as we were looking at what's happening in different parts of the world through the Kenya's Gold global lens, we can also see different other countries are going through drought and flood as well. Now, I'll come to you, Samuel. One of the biggest challenges that we do have in the country is lack of preparedness for such calamities. It's like we fold our hands and chill, and then when these calamities happen, that's when we all start panicking and wondering, what should we do? What should we not do? How can we save ourselves? Please talk to us about the preparedness. How are you preparing people when it comes to matters, calamities on climate change? Because, you know, it's something that is happening. How are you working on the preparedness in the communities?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having us. The first thing in matters of preparedness in terms of calamities, the first thing is information. And being part of the network, organizing the event tomorrow, our main focus is creating awareness and making sure that all communities, everyone who is involved or who stays around these riparian parts of the river are aware of the consequences of staying along the rivers, and they should also be aware the government requirements or regulations regarding the rivers. So the first thing is upon us as communities or community leaders to make sure each and every individual knows what regulations talks about in terms of riparian land, what they should be doing. Then now they can now wait for the government to come maybe with their projects in terms of calamities. But
how do you pass that information? Because besides the event, which of course you do several events where you meet people and you talk to them, but of course you can't do events every day. True, and this is information that needs to get to different people across these areas. So on a daily, how do we make sure that this conversation is active? It doesn't just wait for when, you know, the storm is nearing and then we pick it up. What happens every other day to keep up
We do
on track?
Community engagements, like forums. We invite a certain village. We have a forum. We discuss with them. We give them the information on climate and climate change effects, all the general information regarding those matters. We also do social media campaigns. We also do public barazas, any platform that can be available to make sure the whole community receives this information.
Right.
Yeah, we also do cleanup activities, and this one was so much more during the during. Yeah. and after the El Nino periods, where we did unclogging of these waterways to ensure that there was a proper passage of water. That's why there was no much incidences of flooding in Kibera. That's on the dam area mostly.
And that's because of the unclogging.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And
we did that.
let me add, preparedness is a two-way traffic, whereby even the government need to
Has
be
to be
prepared.
part of it.
When evictions happen, how are they prepared? We have the relocation allocation plan. Are they evicting these people to put them somewhere, or they just evicting them and that is it? So when it comes to the disaster risk management, because evicting a person and not giving them a solution, you are also putting them at risk. So it's a two-way. But as we are doing our thing, and also the government should be accountable.
And how is the response so far in terms of our preparedness as the people? Let's step away from the government for a minute.
Yeah.
When you're now doing the sensitization, when you're now talking to people in the communities, in your public barazas, what is the response like? And are you seeing any difference in how they're treating the environment? Because remember, we are unclogging because we are the very same people who led to the clogging. So if we do not also master if there's any progress, then it's going to be a cycle of the same thing all day, every day. So what is the progress like so far?
I think there's a big gap when it comes to that, whereby you find that in a certain community, and let me speak about Kibra, because I live there, they're not even aware of what is happening. They're not even aware of the dangers that are there for the people living around the riverian. They're not even aware that they need to evacuate those areas. Because I remember, let me point out a specific area in Kibra, in Maranatha, whereby we lost alive. In Maranatha. When you go there, you'll see the area is dilapidated. But then the peoples are like, okay, they're just going back to live in the same areas. And that's why we are saying, as a team, as a network, we are saying we have to empower this community. We have to make them aware of the dangers. We have to make them aware. And also, by the way, we don't just do that. The data comes in, whereby we are saying around the 30 meters buffer, we have this certain number of people, the people to be affected. Where are they going? So such kind of data approach, the evidence-based approach, which is very key when it comes to the environment.
Yeah, maybe if I should add to that, the community is basically responding good, because we started with around, like for our sensitization program, we started with around, say, 50 to 55 people. But currently we see an increase in number. Like my organization, ETCO, deals with children. We have feeding program every Saturday. We engage these young people in environmental care programs. We teach them, we sensitize them as well, so that when they grow, they also become aware and cognizant of their environment.
Now, very quickly on that, I know we are focusing a lot on the dangers in Kibera and what we have seen with the floods, and you're also unclogging some of these areas. I would also want to find out, is this participation happening with everyone, even those that do not live in Kibera? Because, you know, at the end of the day, the environment conversation is for everyone, not just for the people living in a certain area. So we want to find out how you're also including people who are in other regions and what the response is like so far. But that answer you will be giving us when we come back from this break. But before we take this break, allow me to tease the farm joke of the day. And remember, the first two people to get the answer correct do get to walk away with the hamper courtesy of Ultra Vestis East Africa. And the question that we're asking you today is, what is the worst vegetable to have on a ship? I'll ask that question one more time. What is the worst vegetable to have on a ship? Please feel free to send in your guesses and answers across all our social media platforms on Instagram at Kenya's Gold. Our SMS line is 22422 and our email is kenyasgold@royalmedia.co.ke. Remember, there's goodies for the first two people to get the answer correct.